Okay, so there's been a real buzz around the FIFA Club World Cup lately. And one match, well, it seems like everyone's talking about it. Real Madrid's big 3-0 win over RB Salzburg in Group H. You've sent over some really interesting reports on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And our mission for this deep dive, it's really to get under the skin of that result, not just the score, impressive as it was. We want to pull out the key insights from these sources. Why did they perform like that? What does it mean for them going forward? And, what does it tell us about this team, which is clearly going through a bit of a shift?
Definitely. A very decisive 3-0 win, wasn't it? At Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. Goals from Vinícius Júnior, Fede Valverde, and Gonzalo Garcia.
That's right. Sealed the top spot in Group H for Madrid. Bad news for Salzburg, though. They're out.
Yeah. And what really jumped out from the reports, beyond the goals, was the setting. Huge crowd, nearly 65,000 fans there.
64,811, yeah.
And they were dealing with some pretty rough, rainy weather, too. It kind of set a dramatic scene, I thought.
It really did. And maybe the perfect stage for, well, what a lot of people are calling the most fascinating part of this game. Seeing Xabi Alonso's tactical ideas really take shape for the first time in public.
Okay, right. Let's unpack this then. Alonso went with a 3-5-2, a 5-man defense. That's the first time we've seen that since he took over from Ancelotti, isn't it?
It is. And it's a pretty major shift from the 4-3-3 that, Ancelotti preferred and Zidane before him. Actually feels a bit like a throwback maybe to Vicente Del Bosque's team around 2000, the Champions League winners.
That's a great point. So what's the real story here? It's more than just changing the numbers on the board. Right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just, you can be flexible. It's how he's using that flexibility. Look at Aurelien Tchouameni. He dropped right in between the central defenders, Dean Huijsen and Rudiger.
Ah, okay. Creating that solid base.
Exactly. A proper anchor for what was essentially a back five. But then, crucially, you had Trent Alexander-Arnold and Fran Garcia playing as wingbacks. And they weren't just defending, they had a license to get forward, to really push on.
Right, so providing width and attacking threat, too.
Precisely. Alonso himself, he's talked about wanting flexibility in his systems.
Yeah.
This match, it felt like a real glimpse into how he sees players maybe evolving within his structure long term.
And that structure, that flexibility, it certainly seemed to let some individuals really cook. Vinícius Júnior, for example. MVP performance, right? Rated 8.5.
Just brilliant.
Yeah.
Scored the opener, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bellingham assist. Drilled it home.
Yeah, but then that assist for Valverde's goal. That back heel, people are already comparing it to Goody's heel of God.
They are. And, for anyone who doesn't remember Goody's pass, it was just pure audacity. Genius. A blind back heel from midfield. So for Vinny Jr. to get that comparison, especially now in a new system, it says a lot.
It really does. And he even mentioned himself, didn't he, that he's adapting, playing a bit inside, more in this setup.
Finding those different spaces. And you can't forget Fede Valverde either. Scores in the second, a really crucial goal just before halftime.
And wearing the captain's armband, too. Leading by example.
Exactly. And then the third goal, Gonzalo Garcia, the academy kid, wraps it up with what was described as a brilliant Raul-esque finish.
High praise indeed. Did Alonso comment on that?
He did. Say Garcia reminds me of Raul. Praised his work rate, his pressing, and get this, that's his second goal in just 3 starts under Alonso. That's making an impact.
Wow. It's fantastic seeing young talent grabbing their chance like that. But obviously a team like Real Madrid, especially in transition, they lean on their established stars too. How did they fit into this new picture?
Well, they were vital. Jude Bellingham, what more can you say? An all-action display. His passing was superb. Rated 8.2.
He's just relentless, isn't he?
Totally. And Tchouameni, we mentioned him anchoring the defense. He was really pivotal there, owned that role. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a wingback, also really impressed. 8.1 rating, showed off that great long passing range, the crossing.
So the system suited him then?
It seems so. And let's not forget Courtois in goal, 8.2 rating. Made some big saves when Salzburg did threaten.
Okay, so great individual moments, new system clicking. But the reports also mentioned the match flow was a bit uneven.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. It was almost a game of 2 halves in terms of performance, if not the scoreline. First half, Madrid looked dominant, controlled the ball, controlled the tempo, very comfortable.
But then?
Second half, they definitely took their foot off the gas, as one report put it. Looked a bit sloppy, misplacing passes, just seemed a bit out of sync at times.
Right, so it wasn't all smooth sailing despite the 3-0 score.
Not entirely.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just, a minor blip. It actually gives us an early look at Alonso's management during a game. How does he react when things aren't quite right?
I saw that mentioned too. Salzburg, they pressed hard apparently. but just couldn't finish.
Yeah, their intensity was there, but reports say poor finishing and wasted opportunities really let them down. Maybe fortunate not to score, actually, when Madrid had those lapses.
Okay. So how did Alonso respond to that second half dip?
That's the key. He didn't wait around. 3 substitutions, bang, 67th minute. Modric, Rodrigo, Jacobo Ramon all came on. So he's decisive, ready to tweak things, make changes under pressure. That's crucial for the knockout stages, isn't it?
Absolutely. Which brings us to what's next. This win secures top spot, right? So who do they face?
They've drawn Juventus, the Group G runners-up. That match is on July 1st in Miami.
Juventus. Okay, that's a big test straight away.
It is. And the sources, they're pointing out that Madrid have landed on the, quote, trickier side of the draw. Potential games down the line against Dortmund, maybe Bayern, maybe PSG.
Oof. So beating Juventus is just the first hurdle in a potential gauntlet. It's a real test for Alonso's system against a really well-organized top European side.
Exactly. That trickier side isn't just about the famous names. It means they'll need to be consistently sharp, really clinical to get through. Yeah. No room for too many sloppy second halves.
And things could get even more complex or maybe more potent with players coming back, right? Mbappe?
Yeah, killing Mbappe. Missed the group stage. Had acute gastroenteritis, apparently. But he's expected back for the knockouts. Same for Endrick Felipe, who's been injured.
So you bring back global superstars like Mbappe, like Endrick.
Yeah.
How does Alonso fit them in, especially when the new 3-5-2 seems to be working and players like Vinícius are finding new roles within it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a great problem to have, obviously, adding that kind of firepower. But yeah, integrating them smoothly without messing up the chemistry that's starting to build. That's a fascinating challenge for Alonso.
It really is. And this is where it gets super interesting for you, the listener. Because this whole story, this Real Madrid performance, it's way more than just football chat.
It's really a case study, isn't it? Leadership change, new strategies coming in, players having to adapt, finding that balance between the star players and the team working together, all under immense pressure.
Exactly. You get this deeper understanding of how a big organization, because that's what Real Madrid is, implements a new vision in a really high-stakes situation. You see what makes them tick, even when they hit bumps in the road or look a bit vulnerable for a moment.
It's like watching adaptation happen in real time.
So if we boil it all down, what are the big takeaways here?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's the arrival of the Xabi Alonso tactical blueprint, that 3-5-2. It showed it can provide stability, sure, but also be flexible enough to let players like Vinícius Júnior produce magic, like that assist.
Dutiesque one, yeah.
Exactly. And it allowed guys like Gonzalo Garcia, the younger talent, to step up and really make a mark.
Right. And we also saw those established stars, Bellingham, Tchouameni, Alexander-Arnold, playing crucial roles in making it work. Plus, the team showed they could dominate, like in the first half, but also manage things when they weren't quite at their peak, like in the second. Salzburg missed chances, yes, but Madrid still controlled the outcome.
That mixed new tactics, individual moments of brilliance, and that underlying resilience, it's got them into the knockout stage against Juve.
And for you listening in, this isn't just about a football match. Think about it like a lesson in adaptation, in strategy, in how crucial the right people are to making things work, especially when the pressure's on, whether that's internal change or external competition.
Spot on. Which leads us to a final thought, maybe something to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
So Madrid are heading towards Juventus. They've got this new tactical approach working, mostly. They've got Mbappe potentially coming back into the fold. But given that second half performance against Salzburg, even though they won comfortably, can Alonso's Real Madrid really keep up the tactical discipline, that clinical edge, consistently enough to go all the way in this tournament? Or could those moments, those dips in concentration, become their Achilles heel when they face even tougher teams down the line?